so let's talk about 5 reasons why every jazz pianist utilizes shell voicings. All right, so the first reason is they're easier to grab, meaning that if we have a block chord, let's say a C minor 7 chord like that, there's 4 notes there that you got to grab, right? A chord shell is just 2 notes, the root and the 7th, the root and the 3rd, and there's some other combinations as well, but those are the 2 big ones, root 7 or root 3rds. So now to grab those chord shells, what you do is just start with your octave. So if I want to grab a C7 chord shell, start with my octave, and then the 7th is down a whole step from the root, right? So I have my root up top, and I go down a whole step, and that creates a C dominant 7th chord shell, or a C minor 7 chord shell, right? So any chord that has a minor 7th in it, I can utilize that as my chord shell. Right? We go into much deeper level of theory and all of that in the chord shell mastery program if you're interested in learning more about these chord shells and how to form them. But that's your basic chord shell right there. Root 7, root 3, maybe you might have a root 6 chord in there. But the point is, as jazz pianists, we utilize these chord shells because they're easy to get to. Right? And that's really important because especially when you're playing in the moment, you have to get to the chord as quickly as you possibly can. So chord shells are a great voicing to use to get to a chord quickly. Number 2, they give you a very clean sound. Look it up. Bud Powell, one of the most famous jazz pianists, bebopper, used to use chord shells all the time, right? And one of the reasons is it gives you that clean sound, meaning that, let's say you're going to play over a C dominant 7th chord, or even a C minor 7 chord, and you're just playing these 2 notes. Now, you would be right if you're saying, well, wait a second, Willie, how do I know that that's a C dominant 7th chord versus a C minor 7th chord versus a C minor 7 flat 5, right? It could be C dominant, it could be C minor, it could be C minor 7 flat 5, gee, it could also be C augmented 7th chord, right? It could be any of those chord voicings. So the question is, how do I know that's a C dominant 7th chord? You don't. It could be any one of those chords that I said to you, right? So it could be C minor or C dominant. So why would you use that if it's not defining the full chord? Because that gives you the freedom in the right hand in your improvisation to do all kinds of things. Now, you're not contending with that 3rd down there where if you hit like a note that conflicts with it, right? That 3rd is out of there. Right? So with that 3rd out of there, or the 7th, depending on which shell you're doing, it opens up your chord sound in the left hand. So that means that there are less notes that are going to rub against one another and sound clashing, right? Again, if I have that 3rd in there and I'm playing that, yeah, it sounds pretty clashy, doesn't it? Okay? With this, you're only really worried about that 7th up there, and then maybe your root as well, right? So these are only 2 notes there, so it gives you that cleaner sound. It's faster to get to, and you have that clean sound. Number 3, you can get to them fast, all right? So when you're playing an up-tempo tune, you really want to be able to get to those chord shells super fast. All right, putting on Stella by Starlight again. Let's say somebody's like, okay, let's do Stella by Starlight, but let's do it at 225. Okay, so now, right? You want to be able to get to those chords. Chord shells are going to make it a lot faster and easier than if you're trying to do all of these rootless chord voicings and big chord voicings. You're likely going to end up hitting a wrong note over there. It's really important too when you're improvising over that fast tempo. Now, if the brain doesn't have to think about the chord voicing so much, you can spend more time focusing on that right hand. Right? And that's really, really critical when it comes to improvisation. Right, number 4, you could create bass lines from your chord shells. Let's spend a little bit of time on this one. So there's a great tune called Nostalgia in Times Square. It's a Mingus tune. So in the left hand, all I'm doing is my chord shells, all right? It's pretty simple, you know, just root 7. I did root 7 into a root 3 chord shell. Okay? So now how do I create a bass line out of that? Well, the chords are 2 chords per measure, right? So it's 4/4 time, and you have 2 chords per measure. Now, if you know anything about jazz bass lines, they're usually in quarter notes. Do you sometimes put in eighth notes and triplets and all of that? Yeah, of course, bass players do that. But predominantly, it's a quarter note bass line, right? So now if you have 2 chords per measure and you're going to play the root of each of those chords, guess what? You have 2 quarter notes right there. You got root and you got root. You got 2 more beats you got to fill in. So what could you fill them in with? The 7th. So check this out. I love this part. So you see how I could create that bass line, and all I did was I took the shell, and rather than playing the shell as one unit like that, I broke it up. So I did root 7, root 7, root 7, root 7, and on the A flat to the D flat, I did root 7, down to the root and the 3rd of the D flat. And then on the D minor, so see what I did on the D minor to G to C to F, the B flat to E flat to F. I did, just broke it up like that. Root 7, root 3, root 7, root 3, root 7, root 3, root. So again, creating those bass lines from your chord shells really works, and it's a great technique. You could do this even on ballads. Right now I'm doing My Romance, right? So I got a lesson going on, the 6-week intensives on My Romance. Well, what if I wanted to make that into kind of like a quasi bass line? Right, so breaking up those chord shells gives me motion in that left hand. All right, now perhaps the biggest reason why jazz pianists use chord shells is that you create larger, richer chords from these chord shells. Right? So I showed this example before, but it's a great example. This is right from a Bill Evans transcription. Let's take a look at what it is that he's doing here. So let me just play the chords first of all. So you got E minor 7, E minor 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7 flat 9 with a sharp 11 in there, okay? So look at the E minor 7 chord. Now on the left hand, this is a root 10th, right? So it's not root 7, it's not root 3, because root 3 would be like that, which by the way, that's too low to play root 3, right? So it's a root 10th. It's an inversion of the 3rd. It's an octave higher. It's the 3rd played an octave higher. So again, if this is the 3rd, that's the 7th, and octave is 8, 9, 10, right? Well, actually, 9, 10, to be technically correct, right? So that's a root 10th chord shell. With this chord shell, most players are not going to be able to play this. So if you can't play this, don't worry, most players cannot play this. That's quite a stretch right there. Right? The next one is root 7 on A minor, then root 3 on D minor, and then root 7 on G7. But now look at what's going on the right hand. It's a rootless chord. Rootless chord. It's the 5th, the 7th, the melody note. Rootless chord voicing right here. You add the shells, and now you get this real big check this out, like a C7 chord, and then throw an A flat triad over the top of it. That's what we call an upper structure triad. See what we got now? But again, look at where the foundation of the chord is. The foundation of the chord is what? It's a chord shell. It's a root 3, 7. I could easily also do just root 7 in there. Okay? You can do all these big chord voicings, but the root, the foundation of the chord, the bottom notes of that larger chord is what? It's a chord shell, right? So by learning those chord shells, it really gives you a lot of flexibility in your playing. Too often players think, oh, those chord shells are just easy, right? Or they're simple, I can get to them. Well, guess what? Most players have difficulty getting to those chord shells quickly, all right? That's number one. Number two, they are not simplified chords. They might seem at first like simplified chords because you're only playing 2 notes of a chord, but they are really mission critical to get down. You really have to have those shells down in order to progress on in your jazz piano skills, right? So if you think that you're just going to go right to rootless chord voicings and never do chord shells, you're probably going to be wrong with that, right? Because chord shells fill a really important role. Hopefully in this video, you've seen, these 5 different ways in which you can utilize chord shells. Now, this video was not designed to be like a full instructional video. If you're interested in that, check out my chord shell mastery program. If you've ever wanted to master your chord shells, if you've had difficulty being able to get to them quickly, you forget them, you forget how to form them, you don't quite understand how to use them, if any of those questions sound like where you're at, then the chord shell mastery program is without question going to be a program that you're going to be interested in, right? The main thrust of the program and the main way that it's structured is that I'm going to give you a main lesson, right? So you'll have like a 15, 20-minute lesson in which we talk the theory of the chord shell, but then you are going to be diving right into my practice actions. And that's where no talking, very minimal talking. We just literally practice. And I have a lot of great exercises, some really unique exercises to get you to master these chord shells. So again, I hope you'll join me. Go ahead and check out that link or the link in the description. If you don't mind, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and then do me a favor and leave your comments below. Are you using chord shells? Do you have difficulty with chord shells? Do you love them? Do you hate them? What's your thoughts on chord shells? All right, anyway, I will see you in the next video.